There is no one more ruthless when it comes to protecting their copyrighted content in the gaming industry than Nintendo. As someone who primarily covers them here on YouTube, I can vouch for saying you'll never get hit faster or harder with copyright claims from any publisher than the Big N. And this is across the board. We see it with fan games and the likes as well. Most recently, though, what's making the news is this massive lawsuit they have filed against popular ROM sites, loveroms.com and loveretro.co, which are apparently run by the same company for copyright infringement. And we're looking at a big sum here. Apparently, they're seeking $150,000 per copyright infringement, so per game, essentially, that Nintendo has the rights to, and $2 million per trademark infringement on the site. They're reportedly looking at around $100 million total. This is no joke. And I'm not really familiar with these sites, but Nintendo is at least stating in their claims that these websites are known for distributing proprietary BIOS software and using trademarked logos and characters as well. And if you're familiar with how the ROM stuff works, usually, having like software to run it and that together is usually where you get into a big no-no zone. And Nintendo believes both sites are professional operations turning a profit. Like I said, Nintendo protecting their IPs is nothing new, but going directly after sites like this aren't as common, and could have several meanings behind them as well as implications. The first thing that actually makes me hopeful with this is this could have something to do with a big push coming to get their back catalog finally available on the Switch, perhaps. Usually when business picks up like this, they're planning something related, kind of like with the another Metroid 2 remake takedown. Not long after that game was hit with a cease and desist, we learned about Nintendo remaking the game themselves with Return of Samus. And obviously these types of sites have been around pretty much forever. Granted, like I said, going off of Nintendo's claims, these particular sites are committing more actionable offenses. So if they are planning to, say, beef up that Nintendo Classics collection, perhaps not long after the online service drops, I could see them kind of trying to get their ducks in a row here by letting these sites know that they're not screwing around when it comes to their classic games. Either way, Nintendo continues to sell games all over, whether it be on the past eShops or even via the new classic systems, right? The NES and the SNES classics, which there's likely going to be more of those coming. So even just as we stand right now, it makes sense Nintendo would want to be aggressive with protecting their past libraries, and they certainly have a case here. I mean, a big part of these cases is proving that there's competition and they're costing you money. And just think about the classic systems. They're essentially just little ROM boxes that Nintendo is selling, and you have sites like this giving the games away for free. If you don't think there's going to be people who opt to download them for free and not pay, you're crazy. I think it's about as easy of an argument as you can get. However, not all retro games get the treatment that Nintendo's do. Not even all Nintendo games are treated the same, certainly not by a long shot. And part of making these ROMs and that available does have to do with preservation. There are countless titles that haven't had a release outside their original physical form, and obviously these companies aren't making money off them anymore. So sure, it's not like they're losing money with games like that, and it's great for people to be able to experience these games that they would probably never be able to otherwise. Obviously, you don't want to see any game just get lost to time. I get where people are coming from with that. I do. But Super Mario World doesn't have that risk. Donkey Kong Country doesn't have that risk. And Nintendo is just putting their foot down and making it clear, stay away from their games. But just seeing this go down could make others shy away from doing something similar at all for any game. I mean, if I ran one of these sites, I'd be at least scrubbing all the Nintendo games off of it right now. And when they win, if this goes forward, they will win. They'll never see $100 million. These guys surely have nowhere near that. But when they win, you'd have to consider that you could be next. And you could even see other companies wanting to mimic Nintendo's success, and then you got other people coming after you for their games. This really could develop into a problem with people not wanting to deal with it at all. And that's where you could see games becoming inaccessible to people who don't want to pay insane collector premiums to own them. Like, I'm a big horror fan. I'd love to own a physical copy of Rule of Rose on the PS2, right? But I'll probably never be able to justify a purchase of a real copy with the insane markup that game has now. And I doubt that's high on many people's list of games they'd want to see made digital or get an HD remaster or anything like that. You know, nobody cares about this game and it's got a high collector price. You never get to experience it then. And I have the same feelings with all media that would fall into this category as well, to be honest with you. If it's a movie, comic book, piece of music, whatever, if there's no way to walk into a store and buy it, to download it or stream it legally, then yeah, I don't think it's a big deal to pirate it or whatever. If people want to make money off something, then they have to make a way for people to spend money on it. If you don't, then clearly you're not concerned with making money off of it in the first place. But like I said, that's not really the case with Nintendo's catalog, at least for the most part. And even if it wasn't, they own the IPs and they want to protect them. Nothing crazy about that. It is unfortunate if it does scare people off the ROM game in general. So I would just recommend, if you do want to use that argument, the preservation deal, which I think there is an argument there, you would still have to limit it to the stuff that you don't have many ways to experience. And when it comes to copyright, I think it's just a good idea to always try your best to stay out of Nintendo's way. And with that, this video is a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on the Nintendo copyright lawsuit in the comments. Do you think hitting this company with possibly as much as a $100 million lawsuit could have an effect on other ROM curators? As always, I'm John Zakari, and thanks for watching.